Obviously before I pop that front wheel in, I'm just going to straighten the forks up because they have been twisted for transit. Don't need my glasses for that. Need them for practically everything else these days. That's sad, isn't it? Right, lovely. Same torque setting on those bolts as we applied to the handlebar clamp. We'll set them to 210. Okay. Before I do that, I'm just going to make sure that the bolts are loose. I'm just going to double check the top cap. That shouldn't need, no, that doesn't need any adjustment. Lovely. Where are we? Where have I put my tools? Okay, there we go. That's going to be, yeah, that's a 4, isn't it? Just run these in by hand. And then torque them. Good. Right. Okay. Before I put the front wheel in, I'm as mad as it sounds because it's already fitted. I'm going to whip this caliper off because, to my mind, that's not right. It's somehow this has got wrapped around the back of the fork. I think it was fitted like that by the looks of it. I would need to look at the owner's manual just to be sure, but I don't think that's alright. And again, this is kind of a generic Caliber owner's manual. Yeah, I think we need a picture of that, but well, I'd want to check the torque on those bolts in any case. So to my mind, that cable, that brake hose, should come down the front of the fork, through this here clamp, and then down, probably down the outside to that caliper. So let's whip that caliper off. I think they intend you to do that because these bolts weren't even tightened. Yeah, that must just be part of the packaging. So let's just get these loosened. And don't forget how your spacers are fitted. So when you take this off, you've got alloy big spacer, little washer, and then you've got kind of the opposite on the other side. So don't get those muddled up, because that could be quite an embarrassing mistake. I mean, especially if you did it on YouTube, for example, and were claiming to be some sort of expert. Oh yeah, you'd look a dickhead then. Right, okay. Oops. Right, so there's the little wedge thing I was talking about earlier. So it just goes in between your pads, just to make sure that nothing untoward happens to them. Okay, take that off. Slip it over the cable, or the hose rather, in this case. Is roughly located. Okay, that is roughly located. I'm new to the world of through axles. This is my first one, so it's going to be interesting. Okie dokie, let's fit this caliper back. Don't be tempted to run these in with the impact gun that you've got sitting handily on the bench there. As tempting as that is, and again, good, we are getting there. Seated. Nipped. Right, we got a torque spec on these? Nope, we have no torque spec on the fittings themselves, so let's see if we've got one elsewhere. No. How very interesting. If anybody knows the torque for these caliper bolts, I'd love to know it. But the bolt is thread locked, so I think for the time being I'm just going to do them up FT, fully tight. Should do. I will check the torque spec on those and put it into the description. Right, we are very nearly there. It's worth mentioning that for working on your mountain bike, for building your mountain bike, it's always good to have a decent work stand that allows you to support it in safety and work on it. Alternatively, you could buy a really shit one like I've got here. Anyway, onward. Let's put this front wheel in. Now, these come with, as you can see, quite a decent set of tyres on them. Notwithstanding that, I am going tubeless. So that will be the next pretend I know what I'm doing video coming along. So he's just pulling these plugs out the front wheel. There you go. Right, I am, and again, I know the armchair experts will correct me on this, I'm just going to put some grease, not too much, on this here through axle. just so I don't transfer that to the brake rotor. Just wipe my hands on the packaging. Right, where's the bolt? Right, okay, and now this does have a torque setting on it, which is 9 to 13.5 Newton meters. We will go with 12. Whip your keeper out from the pads. God, these wheels are light. These are really light wheels. Sweet. Yes. You beauty. Right. Now that's quite a big one. I suspect I'm going to go 8 on this. Oh, far too big. Should have gone to Specsavers. There you go. Wasn't too far off, it's a 6. Okay. So he takes his 6, takes his torque wrench, and let's go. Yeah, let's go 12. There you go. What I'm doing here is just pumping the brakes to get the pistons fully out and to get them settled and get the air out of the system. Lovely. Right. Let's tighten you up. You feel about right to me. Lovely.